crotch probably got killed during the seance.
Sashi's dead, bro.
Suspicious.
Welcome back to Attack, everybody. Today we're playing more Danganronpa V3. We
And
just
who
had a
did
theory.
it, Gage? Who did it? Who's the killer?
Had a theory.
Who's the killer?
Me.
Oh, okay.
We had a theory that Kibo
Could be remote controlled and is the mastermind secretly.
Yeah, because he was talking about that weird voice in his head, and it's like,
That sounds like schizophrenia, but robots can't get that, I would think.
yeah, so it has to be an actual reason,
Right.
aka he's being remote controlled, he's the mastermind.
Also, we figured out Angie's lab was locked by a spinning katana.
Yeah, that's what we figured out in the last episode, and also no one got brought back to life, and I'm sad.
Yeah, I know. I would have liked someone. But
Yeah.
anyways, yes. Oh, never mind.
Using effigy with a katana.
They locked the door by using the effigy with the katana.
Yes.
A plan born from the heart of a sword traveling through the air to intercept us.
Kill Samugi next, please.
Yeah. I thought you liked Subuki.
Couldn't
I
it
did.
move the slide lock so easily?
Yeah, it was
the
easy to
sliding
move.
lock was pretty loose. A little push could move it.
No doubt by design.
As long as the spinning katana hit the lock, it would have slid into position.
Even if the culprit failed the first couple times, they could keep trying until it locked.
Which is
Makes
why
sense.
the culprit chose to strike at nighttime, as to avoid detection.
Yes, since the student council prohibited anyone from walking around at nighttime.
All I want to know before they, we reveal who it is and they get punished or whatever is how many tries it took.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
before you go, can they say, oh, it took me 50 tries, by the way. That lock was so hard. Anyways.
Time to die, I guess. Goodbye, everybody.
Are you saying it's the student council's fault?
Yeah.
No,
I didn't say that.
but it makes sense.
In any case, the culprit probably used the murder weapon for this trick. It had to have been the right length to hit the sliding lock from the effigy.
The culprit couldn't find a blade long enough in my lab, so they settled for the katana.
The other effigies were only hung up so we'd think it was some kind of ceremony.
Why'd they block off the manhole and not just Maki's lab?
Yeah, honestly. Like Maki
even
probably-
Maki and us were talking about they should have blocked the warehouse. There's a lot of dangerous things in there.
But it's like,
Oh, there's also guns in yours, so.
I mean, they're airsoft guns, but still.
Oh yeah, they are airsoft, huh?
Yeah.
That way, we wouldn't notice the lock trick.
But Kokichi did say earlier that he could have picked the lock closed. I don't want to completely ignore that possibility. But I can't imagine the culprit would have done all this just for a distraction.
Also, we kind of brushed off the whole Kokichi admitting it thing pretty quick. Like, I know he's the ultimate
If that's
liar
the
pretty
case,
much,
then
but...
Kokichi's confession
Yeah.
earlier was actually...
Oh, never mind, we're back.
Seriously? You fucking lied again?
Cough it up, Kokichi!
I mean, he still could have done it, though.
You guys got me.
Yeah.
I mean, he could have done the spinny
Okay,
katana
I'm not
thing
the
anyway.
culprit.
Yeah.
You're telling the truth this time, right?
I want to say I'm lying, but I'm not.
Why did you say you were the culprit?
I wanted to lure the culprit out.
Did you?
If I claim to be the culprit, then the real culprit would agree as well. You get me?
Oh, part of me wants to can I open the log and go that far back?
Probably.
Is that cheating?
We'll see.
And if they pressured me to confess, then that would have looked mighty suspicious. Sheesh. Darn it. It didn't go my way because
Okay.
Shuichi butted in on my plan.
You and your fucking lies! Go sit in the corner and play with yourself!
Okay, I'll start right now.
No!
Alright, so who's
All
the
right.
asshole who set up this locked room mystery?
Mew, I can't hold it up anymore.
What?
That's like...
What's the matter? You going soft on me
Hey.
now?
Who made the locked room mystery doesn't matter since anyone could have done it.
Yeah.
Don't you even understand something as basic as that, you filthy cum dumpster?
I ship them, honestly.
Never change Kokichi.
Dumpster! Finally! Someone finally called me a cum dumpster!
Anyway,
What should we talk about now?
anything else?
Cum dumpsters, of course. right?
Anything but that, please.
We
The
must
cum
focus
dumpster's the
not on the
culprit.
locked room, but on who entered Angie's lab.
Only
Yeah.
one of the student council members or Kokichi could have been
Or Kokichi.
Or Kokichi.
Therefore, the culprit must be among their number.
That leaves us with 4 suspects. Tsumugi,
And
Shota,
Himiko.
Kibo,
And Tenko.
and Kokichi.
And Tenko.
Don't forget Himiko. She's also a part of the student council. Doesn't matter if she was besties with Angie, she's still a suspect.
Yeah.
That contradicts what you said earlier, which I can prove using my recording function.
The fact that they're not saying Tenko almost makes me be like, but it could be Tenko, though.
Yeah.
It's fine. That's just a waste of time.
It could. Tenko could also be a revenge kill.
Yeah, like maybe
So-
one of the student council members then went and killed Tenko because...
Tsumugi, Kibo, Himiko would be a.
You're just wide-eyed thinking about it? Who did it?
I'm thinking of the names. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Me? A suspect?
Yeah.
Never kill Angie!
But what about Tenko?
So, calling all suspects, what should we discuss next? I want to hear everyone's opinion. What would you say to get yourself off the
It's like
suspect
a personality test.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you trying to lead the debate? You're a suspect too.
list? Silence, outsider. Only the suspect rangers are allowed to speak.
It's a secret club.
Suspect rangers?
I agree. Those under suspicion should explain themselves thoroughly.
Where were you?
We might catch them with their pants down.
True.
Anyway, I want to ask the suspect rangers. What should we talk about? What should we say to get ourselves off the suspect list? Well, guys, I want to hear what you think.
That's sort of a difficult question, you know?
Gonta not smart enough to know answer to that.
Yeah.
Yes, it is difficult to formulate a logical response to that question.
I think it was you 3.
Not articulate with words, huh? Don't you guys want to prove your
Kokichi,
innocence?
you're obviously trying to draw him into a trap. Like, I don't think this is working, bud.
Right.
They don't trust you one bit, and I don't blame them. You're probably plotting.
Why did Tenko have to die?
Huh?
I want to know what happened to Angie too, but
You want to switch paths over to the Tenko case for a minute?
can we talk about Tenko's case now and not just Angie?
I got you exactly where I wanted, Himiko.
Hey, chill.
What do you mean?
The 2 victims could have been killed by 2 separate murderers, you know. So we need to find the first Blackened responsible for the first victim. We gotta figure out who killed Angie. Until we solve Angie's case, Tenko's case is meaningless.
I wouldn't say it's meaningless.
But it's...
Would you suggest that to waste our
It's
time?
not meaningless!
There could be some connecting clue.
True. Maybe the clues of the second would solve the first.
Right.
Himiko?
Tenko's death was meaningless? How dare you! Poor Tenko! How could you do this to her?
I've never seen her mad before.
I've never seen her with emotion other than depression.
Right.
Himiko.
Himiko, stop it with your crappy lies.
Lies?
Everything you said is total BS.
Is it? Did she kill Angie?
That's interesting.
You
though.
didn't give 2 shits about Tenko when she was alive.
Wow, that is cruel.
But now you're like, oh no, poor Tenko, after she's dead. Come on, really?
Kokichi, enough!
No, I want to follow this thread of logic.
It's okay. It's no surprise he'd think that. I know I ignored Tenko before. That's why I'm so upset now. I should have faced Tenko. Worked things out with her while she was still alive.
And you kind of did beforehand.
It's
Little
too
bit.
late. I can't complain to her or thank her.
Oh my god, I've never seen her show this much emotion.
Yeah.
It's too late.
Yeah, seriously. It's way too late to realize that now. Our only option is to face her death head on.
Face her death?
Himiko, I understand what you're going through. So I'm gonna help you out. Let's work together to find the truth.
I was gonna say some bullcrap like, I had a gerbil that died when I was a kid, so I'm like in the same
Yeah.
shoes as you pretty much.
I'm not gonna let anyone say her death didn't matter.
Kaito. Alright. I'll put a silencing curse on whoever calls Tenko's death meaningless.
Okay.
The name of the curse is Death Curse.
Give it a different name. That's not appropriate right now.
Yeah.
I suppose being dead would silence someone pretty good.
Listen up! All you guys are gonna help out too. Abandoning someone who died and only thinking about your own survival. That's just as bad as a hit and run! I won't forgive something so messed up!
Tenko was our friend. Gonta wanna know why she died too.
I already told you that's so unnecessary. We're getting sidetracked here.
Can we just talk about the truth bullets, guys? I got a list of them here.
Yeah.
No, even if it was a different culprit, we need to know how Tenko died. If we don't find out who killed her, we won't be able to work together. Not now, not ever. Even if this trial isn't for her, in order for us to survive, we need to get to the bottom of Tenko's death. Not just to survive this trial, but so we can keep going and live on!
Good thing these trials don't have time limits.
Interesting you say that, Kaido. Makes me wonder if you have some other motives.
What exactly did he say?
Sure,
Just so we can keep going and live on?
No, let's investigate Tenko's death and not Angie's right now.
Right.
So,
I mean, at the end of the day, we're gonna have to get to the bottom of both of them, so...
yeah, I know.
The sequence doesn't really matter, to me, at least.
Finally, you noticed. Jeez, you're so slow.
Huh? Did Kokichi want us to notice?
Don't listen to his crap. We haven't decided whether there were two different culprits yet.
Is there any evidence that can prove whether there was or wasn't?
Let us talk about Tenko's case then. Perhaps that will provide us a clue.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe.
They're not wrong, but I don't mind going over Tenko's case. But that was an abrupt change of topic. Was that intentional? Yeah?
So what do we talk about first?
But there's... yeah, I don't even know.
I'm just saying Kaido
For now,
spearheaded that
let's see
whole
if we can
thing.
narrow down the list of suspects.
And has been gone and using this occult stuff as a...
I mean, so did Himiko, though. She was like, can we talk about Tenko?
Exactly. So, everyone's a suspect.
Yeah, it doesn't narrow it down too much.
Tancrotch probably got killed during the seance.
Sashi's
Everyone
dead,
there
bro.
is suspicious.
Tancrotch!
The people who attended the seance... Korikyo, Shuichi, Himiko, Kokichi.
I had to, like, look for it.
That's it!
Ta-da!
Ta-da!
It was me, Kyo, Himiko, and Kokichi.
Why was that a thing?
Yeah,
so those
that's pretty
four are the
obvious.
culprits.
If you failed that one, you're actually dumb, guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's just undeniable.
Himiko's still culprit?
Yes!
Well, that's probably just a coinkydink. The most suspicious out of the four is really Kyo. He suggested the whole seance idea.
There's a good thread of logic.
True, I may have suggested it, but I explained the procedure beforehand.
And made sure
yes.
everyone stayed in their spots and did an exact thing and also wouldn't interrupt a potential killing.
Right.
If we all knew of it before the murder, then we are all equally suspicious.
Well, I suppose.
But there were preparations that were made beforehand, such as the floorboard.
In addition, the seance wasn't entirely in my control.
Oh, wait a
either.
second. If the killer originally planned to kill someone... Okay, so there was already preparations made for a killing in the 3 empty rooms, right? From the floorboard
Or at
piece
least
that was cut out, right?
Preparations for something.
Right. I'm assuming for a killing, though, right?
I don't know what else it would be.
So, if Angie did trip on one of those floorboards and, like, hit her head on something, would it be the same person who is setting up Tenko's death that did kill Angie? If they were there when Angie tripped on it?
So you think Angie could have been planning Tenko's death?
Not necessarily, no. But I just wonder if that's a line of logic you could follow to say it was the same person. Because if Angie did trip in that room where Tenko's death took place... Maybe the killer was originally planning not to kill Angie at all, but when Angie tripped and stuff, suddenly it was just like, why not?
But did we ever plan on doing anything with that room beforehand? Like, that makes sense. I see where you're coming from, but the whole seance plan,
I guess that one didn't really come up till after.
It was because Angie died. So unless they were like planning a whole different thing.
Unless it was like Korikyo and he wanted to do the seance the whole time and was just planning to convince everyone. I don't know.
But that's interesting.
It's a very loose theory, but...
If maybe Angie was a weird byproduct of this.
Yeah, I don't know.
I can see that.
She could have been planning maybe a different murder herself. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I was not the one who selected the room we performed it in. It was Himiko.
Interesting you point that out because there was preparations made in all 3 of them.
Mm-hmm.
However, there are 3 empty rooms. Which one shall we use?
The middle room. The middle room's always best for stuff like this.
All right, guys, here's a little survival tip. If you're ever in a killing game, just shut up and never make suggestions on anything.
You sit and watch and that's it.
Yep.
Especially if you kill.
Very well. I shall begin the preparations at once.
Oh.
The preparations, huh? Okay.
Wonder what that would be. Cutting out floorboards, putting a sickle underneath there.
I don't know.
Also, we should not limit our suspects to only those who participated in the seance.
I mean, true, but so everything was just, hey, it could be any of us.
Yeah, so far it has not been narrowed down much.
From outside, you see.
A point of entry from outside. He must be referring to the floorboards. Do the backward left.
There!
Perfect.
You're talking about under the floor, right?
Huh? Under the floor?
Okay.
Yes, there's a crawl space under the floor a person could move through. There was also a hole that connected it to the neighboring room.
Now,
If the culprit used the hole, they could have entered and exited the seance room.
No, what?
so if they picked the 3rd room instead of the 1st or 2nd, wouldn't their whole plan be pretty kaput?
What do you mean?
Well, because there's no way into that 3rd room from the outside. Like there wasn't the crushed or broken gate or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess that's true, unless
they just planned on making one, but...
Yeah, I don't know.
That's just an interesting line of logic.
Maybe that gives you some clues as to when these preparations were made then. Maybe they were made after Himiko suggested which room it was.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because Korikyo right after that said, I'm gonna go make some preparations, blah, 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 blah.
All right.
So,
yeah, Korikyo does not seem like the most unlikely person here, you know?
He doesn't. I just don't see how he could have stabbed Tenko necessarily.
I still think the suggestion I had, where you open the floorboard, the one she was like right next to.
My only problem with that, her weight is on the floorboard, and so is the weight of the iron cage. I mean, I think you can technically slide it a little bit, like underneath, because the beam is missing.
I mean, yeah, couldn't you literally just like...
But in a dead silent room, are you not going to hear of like a sliding board?
Everyone was singing.
True.
And if you're... Korikyo was singing too. Let's say it was Korikyo, okay? Because that's kind of the way this is going. Very easily, while you're singing, he memorizes...
But even then, if he lifts his arm under the cage on the floor, he's like kneeling down.
No, you don't... Okay, wait, never mind, go ahead.
He's still like holding a scythe, and he's like... I don't know, it'd be hard to do necessarily, you know? Especially without disturbing the salt on the ground. I
don't know.
Sure, he had it memorized, but it's not like he has echolocation or anything. That's my only thing that's making me doubt. And also...
Kokichi tripped in the room over.
Right.
So, I mean, that floorboard was never taken off to go under. I mean, I guess it could be put back, but it looked like once it was taken off, it wouldn't settle very easily with that missing spot.
Well, no, it could, because there's like 2 other ones, but I don't know.
I don't know. Kyo's kind of on my suspect list. That's all
he is definitely a suspect. I just think
that or Himiko.
There's not that conclusive piece yet, you know?
Yeah.
If we consider that possibility, then there is another suspect.
Possibility.
That there's a hole.
A hole connecting to a neighboring room.
Another suspect? Who?
Kibo.
It's appearing before me. Oh, I can see it clearly. The true identity of Tenko's killer.
Show me. I can't see it.
Oh, great.
Well,
all right.
Clearly doesn't have it if we're going to argue with him.
Is this the locked, or the lie music?
The culprit sneaked in during the seance.
So we have loose floorboard. It was not loose before the seance. There was dried blood on the bottom of the floorboard. The other one we have is the caged child. Oh, so this is just talking about the preparations for the whole
Right.
thing. Okay.
Crawling.
Is that the only two we have?
Now we
It
have
was pitch black
Kibo's
during the
flashlight and
seance.
hole in the corner.
How could they even see if they were under the floor?
Kibo has lights.
Because it wasn't dark under the floor.
Oh, so Kibo
You
is.
see, our villain had a light.
Light? You mean candle?
I mean, Kibo's flashlight function.
Okay.
Huh?
What are the details of that? That's it. Just
Yeah.
blinding light from his eyes.
Now, hold on a
But
second.
it's a blinding
Kibo
light.
could have used that function to
If
get
there is a
under the
hole in the
floor
back right of the whatever,
and sneak into the empty room during the seance.
Yeah.
I said, hold on a second.
you would have seen
He used
the
his
light
robot
peek
functions
out, I
to
think.
commit the murders.
Hold on a second.
Oh no.
Now we have to repeat that again. It's true that with a little light you could move around under the floor. Is that possible?
Does this say...
Do we
The
have that
culprit
candle at
sneaked
all?
in during the seance.
Oh wait, no, the candle's the one we brought under. I keep forgetting about
But it
that.
was pitch
Yeah.
black during the seance.
Okay, so what was the thing Miyu said? I didn't really pay attention to that. We could argue with the hole in the corner the light would have shown through.
Now, hold on a second.
Okay.
Kibo could have used that function to get under the
There,
floor.
there. That one maybe.
You want to try that?
Sure.
Why not?
No! Sure, it's cramped under the floor, but there's enough room for one person to move around.
Let me explain my logic, guys.
Especially if they had Kibo's flashlight.
Guys, I have the right answer. I just can't word it. I made a
The
mistake!
culprit sneaked in during the seance.
Yeah, it's too bright.
Crawling on the floor.
Okay, maybe some Kyo says. Wait,
Light?
is this the lying music?
Kibo's
That's what I asked
flashlight
earlier.
function.
You just ignored me.
I didn't hear you. Why didn't
Now,
you say it
hold on a
again?
second.
Well, I thought you'd ignored me.
I'm pretty sure this is the lying music. Hold on.
I said,
I
hold
think
on
you're
a
right.
second.
He used his robot functions to commit the murders.
Oh, but where do you know where to
Hold
lie
on a
at?
second.
Oh,
We got time. We got 3 minutes.
that's not that much time.
Okay, Mew said...
So we have loose floorboard.
Okay.
We could lie, I don't know. We have hole in the corner.
Yeah, the answer is obviously no, it'd be too bright.
Right. But I want to lie. It'd be cool to lie. Kibo's flashlight function, and we have the caged child. Okay, let's look at possibilities for lying
The culprit
spots.
sneaked in.
Kibo
Okay, just
could use
pause.
that
Okay,
function to
could have
get
used it.
under
Pause
the
it. Pause it.
floor.
Pause it. Pause it. Okay.
I got it.
Were you just trying random ones?
There may have been some luck involved.
Kibo his flashlight function, correct?
There may have been some luck involved, but we could just shut up and enjoy this.
Okay, okay.
Did you not notice?
I didn't notice what.
Oh,
It's hard to believe that Kibo is the culprit in this case. It's even harder to believe that this trial isn't being manipulated by someone.
yeah. There's a lot of shady stuff going down.
So even if I have to lie, I need to defend Kibo.
Because it's hard to believe? What kind of logic is that?
The drawback of the flashlight function that you added. It's so bright, even Kibo can't see when it's turned on.
I see. That bright, huh? Wait, what? There's no way a genius like me would make that kind of rookie mistake!
Oh.
But you make mistakes a lot. A whole lot.
You're not one to talk.
Yeah.
Hey! If you're gonna fuck me in front of everyone, at least buy me dinner first!
If he can't see, it doesn't matter how bright the area is. He couldn't move like that. So Kibo couldn't have been underneath the floor.
Literally, there's no reason for Shuichi to say any of this.
Yeah, this is just silly at this point.
Is that true, Kibo? Is what Shuichi said true?
Come on, Kibo. Please, play along. Kibo!
Well, I'm so sorry. I just don't remember. Really, I'm sorry.
Ah, we get it already. Just turn it off. We're gonna go blind.
You don't remember? What does that even
Just
mean?
activate it and see if you remember.
Yeah.
Well, Shuichi, trying to make a fool out of me, huh? Let me put on some makeup, cause I want to at least look pretty before you decide to fuck me!
That's
Shuichi, I'm so sorry.
Stop doing
This
that.
hurts.
Damn, that is seriously bright.
Wouldn't the light have shined through the gaps of the floorboard if it had been this bright?
Thank you.
Yeah, that's the point we tried to say, but we didn't know what to compare it with.
Well, I stopped thinking about that. I was looking for the lie.
No, well.
I wasn't even looking for that. I was like, I hear the music. I want to lie.
Yeah. The hole.
That felt so silly, though.
Yeah.
Yes. The culprit couldn't have used a light under the floor. Not even Kibo.
It's like we just realized that the second she said it, too. We were so focused on the stupid lie.
Oh, they couldn't have? We were there, after all. We would know. There was a hole near the corner of the room we were in, remember? If someone had a light under the floor, it would have leaked through.
Yeah, light and darkness is very obvious.
Yeah, and pitch black, too. Like, any little bit of light makes a lot. Like, in my room at night is pitch black. I have, like, no lights on. But I have, like, a blinking red light from something. I don't even remember. I have, like, the green glow from my alarm clock, and it is vivid when your eyes adjust to the dark, you know? Like, you see that clearly. Like, I'll see a random, like, red flash on my ceiling, and it's just, like, a little pinhole-sized red light, and it's like, yeah.
Makes you wonder.
But when we did the seance, I'm pretty sure the room was pitch black.
I don't know. I was closing my eyes.
That's right. We didn't see anything, so the culprit couldn't have used a light.
And just because I have a built-in flashlight function does not mean I am the culprit.
I see. That was a flaw in my theory.
Was it, Kyo?
Jeez, here I thought this would be the case where the murder could only be done by a robot.
You have accused me of being the culprit more than once now, simply because I am a robot.
I mean, it's just likely.
My status as a robot does not mean I am capable of performing superhuman feats.
Yeah, you're pretty weak, all things considered.
My vision is somewhat poor, and I only possess average physical strength and intelligence.
Well, at least you admitted it.
All right, you made your point. God, now I feel sort of bad for you.
I neither want nor need your pity.
Stop doing that!
Enough with the flashlight! It's way too bright!
It would have been difficult to move around under the floor in that pitch black darkness. Maybe the floor and the hole have nothing to do with this case.
See, that's a line I want to follow.
Tenko lined up funny.
So you could just reach around and yoink.
Gonta think that was so culprit to stab Tenko from underfloor.
Ooh, nice observation, Gonta. Are you finally getting used to the class trials?
I don't know.
Uh-huh. Thank you.
Don't say it like that. You're better off not being used to this kind of stuff.
True.
Maybe they marked Tenko with glowing paint and looked for that.
There's a little reference for you.
Oh, yeah.
The culprit find her. Then they could stab her through the floorboards.
Oh, you didn't, game.
Boy, that sounds really familiar too. But I'm just gonna ignore it.
Yeah.
Good call.
Her corpse didn't have any trace of glowing paint, though.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Why was that floorboard loose?
The loose floorboard was the one under Tenko, right?
I just had the dumbest theory.
What's that?
What if Tenko killed herself?
Why?
Yeah, I don't know. But, like, if it would be that hard for someone to position themselves underneath her in the pitch black darkness, and I think it would be very difficult for any one of us four in the room to stab her as well. Like, yoinking your arm underneath it, not tripping any of the salt, not whatever. Like, making it obvious with your voice being in the middle of the room and not in the corner now all of a sudden.
I don't know.
It kind of only leaves, like, her in that cage by herself, and it's just like, I don't know.
I still think there's a lot of logic there in what I said.
But, like, reaching under the cage from above the floor. I think so, too. Problem is
that it'd be so hard to do
her
without
weight was
disturbing.
on the board. So even if the beam was missing, her weight was on the other two beams. So even if you stepped on that board or something, I mean, her whole body weight was on the other two beams of the board.
Or her weight pushed it up a little bit.
Pushed what up? Like, if her weight was on the other side of the board where the beam was missing?
Yeah, but I guess it doesn't really have anything to balance on if the beam is missing. It's kind of the whole point of that.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
If the culprit used it while she was still alive, she'd totally notice.
But she wouldn't say anything.
Who fucking cares? Fussing over that won't get us closer to the culprit.
We shouldn't dismiss this line of inquiry, however. Instead of butting our heads against this, how about we concentrate on another issue?
What other issue?
God, I love these trials.
I do too.
Perhaps first, we should figure out how and when exactly Tenko was killed.
When? So not during seance?
No, it's definitely during the seance.
Yeah.
Tenko was in the metal cage for the whole seance, wasn't she? How could someone have gotten to her there?
No. No, I don't think that. I was about to say, what if somehow she was killed the second we put the, like, metal cage or the dog on her, but she was still talking at that point.
Afterward,
Like,
yeah.
completely normally.
She gives one last, like, I'm good, and then whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe the culprit killed her before she
Nope.
went under the metal cage.
No.
I was there.
That's not possible. She was alive at that
She
point.
wasn't killed. She was alive.
Yeah.
This is the point of no return, Tenko. After this point, you mustn't speak. The next time you open your mouth, it will be Angie speaking through you. Oh. Understood. I will not say a word until the seance is over. Last time I'll ever do her voice.
Yes. She was unmistakably alive when the seance began.
That was right before we blew out the candles. But when the light came back...
The floorboard was removed at that point, so it's likely she was already dead then.
So, I guess this is what I'm confused about. How did the floorboard even get moved?
I don't know.
Like, because she must have been on it, too.
Yeah, like her weight was on it. So I could understand if someone could, you know, push up and just quick stab her through it or something, but how do you get them down underneath her at the right time, at the right whatever?
Yeah, I don't know.
Unless...
So she was killed when the room was dark?
That's almost why I brought up that theory of, like, what if she had something to do with it, you know? What if she killed herself because she killed Angie and didn't want Himiko to find out? Or, like, want Himiko to...
Do you really think she'd do that rather than... Because she'd still...
Maybe she felt guilty after Himiko was so sad.
But she'd still doom us all to death. I figured it'd be better to just be like, okay, I did it. Versus... Like, just admit it and then kill yourself.
Yeah, I don't know.
Versus kill yourself and let everyone die because they didn't think you could have done it.
True, if she was gonna do that, she should have left a clue.
Yeah.
But she was inside Cage, right? Going to think it impossible to kill her then.
Then she wasn't killed when the room was dark. It was a different time.
What if it...
Different time?
They
What
kept
if-
bringing up stuff about us lifting up the cage being the thing that killed her, but it's like...
I don't see how
How?
it
There
could.
was no sharp object when we lifted it up.
Do you think it was Tenko somehow? And they'll use the Necronomicon to bring her back and then Monokuma will kill her again?
I guess the motive's kind of over, so he probably would.
Yeah.
How the fuck should I know? You figure it out, shithead.
So not when the room was dark, when it was light?
I don't know.
We turned the candles back on for a second, but we already saw blood under, like, the second they turned the candles on, you know?
Yeah.
Huh?
And I'm pretty confident it was that sickle that did her in. Unless, again, that's misdirection.
It could be, but it would be hard to stab her with a long katana. The reason we think it's a sickle is because it's curved.
Right. Which would work from under
Since
the floor.
Gonta said it was impossible, I'm proposing an alternate theory. Now hurry up and think! If you want to make my golden brain tingle, start circle jerking your limp dick brains!
I'm on it. What's this other theory?
Yeah.
She's a genius. Marker stone. I didn't even think about
When
the marker
Tenko
stone.
got killed, it wasn't
Okay.
during the seance.
It could not have been done at any other time.
We also have iron cage.
She was under the cage the whole time.
Yeah, this is
She
true.
was dead when the cage was lifted.
What about moment Cage was lifted?
Moment cage was lifted.
Like that.
When
Stop.
Cage lifted, Culprit stabbed Tenko real fast. So fast, no one saw.
Oh my!
Well, what is getting her off here?
She wanted us to circle jerk our limp brains.
Oh.
Then obviously Himiko is the culprit.
There's no down!
Alright. So all our pieces of evidence are just the different parts of the cage. We have the stone, the cage, the white sheet,
Well, we know the cage is like really heavy. So
When
is the
Tenko
dog
got
statue.
killed,
So there's no way they lifted it
wasn't
up.
during the seance.
Right, and I think I'll see if I can find a picture that shows it. But I think the cage's weight was also on the board. You know, it's so hard to find like a proper diagram of how it was.
I mean, that kind of shows it. Like,
I mean, you can see
where
the
the board
outline
is.
of where the like board is and where the cage was. You know,
it is worth noting the board is outside of where the cage would be. I think
it is, so that someone could step on that board from outside. The problem is, once you do that, what do you do to
what if
go around and stab her? You know,
is it possible slamming? Oh, okay. What if it was in the cage somehow and like stepping on the board, like slamming on it, could trigger something?
What if the scythe was somewhere that we didn't see?
Right, like it was connected to something with that board, so you could just like step on it really quick. It'd push up, which would explain how it's a little loose but not completely fallen.
If it pushes up, how does it stab her in the back of the neck? Was the scythe connected to the top of the cage? We would have seen that, though.
Yeah, I feel like we would have.
Because the cage is... where's the cage? Yeah, I mean, it's a cage top, so... You would have seen a scythe if it was stuck to the top of it. Though there is blood on the top of the cage.
There is.
And there is blood on the white sheet as well. There's blood on the back around the middle of the sheet, but no hole in the fabric.
So no one did it through the fabric. We know that. I don't know. Let's just continue.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, we have to
It
figure
could
this
not
out,
have
don't
been
we?
done at any other time. She was under the cage the whole time.
Yeah, no disputing that.
That's pretty much... I don't think she would have been anywhere else. I think it'd be hard to fit under the board, you
What
know?
about moment cage was lifted?
Moment cage was lifted.
Ooh, like that.
When cage...
What's a marker stone say? She'd been crouched over with her forehead on the stone. I mean, yeah, she would have been adamant on keeping her forehead on that stone. I don't think she'd be moving around or anything.
Yeah,
lifted,
she was told
culprit
not to move.
stabbed Tenko real fast.
Right.
So fast, no one's...
So there wasn't a hole in the sheet, but that doesn't prove much. The dog
Oh no,
statue-
that does prove it. Because if someone stabbed her when the cage was lifted really quickly, there wouldn't be any blood on the sheet because the sheet was taken off. Because Tenko ripped it off and then grabbed the sheet, or then grabbed the cage.
Oh, wait,
do that on Gontas.
So what sequence did it happen in? Did they take the dog? Yeah, because she wouldn't have been able to lift it with the dog statue off.
No, because they had to do it in order. Remember that. They all four grabbed the dog. Korikyo grabs the cloth, and then Himiko ripped the cage off. So if it was done so quickly,
Okay,
like
you're right.
Gonta says,
You're right. Yep.
I don't even know why we're arguing Gonta's stupid thing. It's like obviously wrong.
Oh, Gonta said something. It
That
has to be him. Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Nice catch.
Good job, Ethan.
I forgot that they
thank you.
took all the stuff off. In like the particular order,
No,
you know.
it wasn't possible to kill her the moment the cage was lifted. Because the inside of the white cloth had Tenko's blood on it.
Right.
That cloth was removed before the cage was lifted.
By Korikyo.
Right.
If Tenko was stabbed then, there wouldn't be blood on the cloth.
What? But how could my golden brain be wrong when it felt so right?
The only possibility is that Tenko was killed during the seance.
I got your remodel right here!
Okay.
No, it's still wrong to think that Tenko was killed during the
Like how
seance.
shocked we are. Like what?
What? I just proved it.
What?
No what?
What? Why?
I'm gonna prove it right now. My golden brain is gonna go all out!
Bronze brain.
All right.
Marker stone, loose floorboard, iron cage.
Tenko died after the seance. It
Get 'em off.
happened when the sheet
I'm
was lifted.
remembering the
that
controls.
was the moment the culprit chose to stab the fuck out of Tenko through the cage. They stuck the thin blade through the gaps of, and that clean white sheet got stained blood red.
Also, use
But
the
the
sickle.
weapon was a sickle.
Yeah.
Only the blade could have fit through the gaps.
The blade's all you need. If you stick the blade through a gap in the cage, it'd be long enough to reach Tenko,
Okay.
sitting in there with her neck all exposed.
She's not sitting.
She wasn't that far from the
Yes, she
cage's
is.
gaps.
No, she's not. She's curled over.
In which case, the
But
person who lifted the
that
sheet
thing
is
is
the
so literal.
culprit. And that's none other than Kyo.
think it might be, because I think we used the marker stone on what she said.
Okay, I trust
The
you.
blade's all you need, sitting in there with her neck all exposed.
You stupid.
Cut through your
Yeah.
Okay, I don't understand, so I'm excited to see the explanation.
Well, she wasn't sitting, she was kneeling down. And remember,
Wait
the
just a
cage is
minute.
like 3 feet
Tenko
tall.
wasn't sitting down inside the
Oh,
cage.
okay.
And the sickle is like 6 inches long or something.
I thought she just meant like metaphorically, like you're sitting in the cage, you know, you're in the cage, but...
Nah.
She was bent over with her forehead against the marker stone.
She was
Okay.
doing downward dog.
And the cage itself was about 3 feet tall. The sickle's blade was too short to reach Tenko while she was in that position.
Right.
Yeah.
So even more reason for what has to be under the floorboard, at least.
How could this happen? I am so embarrassed.
No worries, Mew. Everyone already knows you're an embarrassment to the human race.
Yeah, no worries.
How embarrassing!
If Shuichi is right, then it's impossible for Tenko to have been killed through the cage.
Right.
She couldn't have been killed during the seance since she was in the cage, right?
No.
If she was killed then, the cloth over the cage would have been pierced.
Not during the seance or from below the floor. Then it's impossible, isn't it?
Yeah, for a living person.
Wait, what?
Just...
Hold on. She couldn't have been killed through the cage.
Right.
She couldn't have been killed during the seance then because she was in the cage. We're still not really considering the floorboard fully, but okay.
Well, hold on. Kokichi's gonna tell us about some zombie stuff.
Yeah, you will.
In the next episode. Goodbye, everybody. Like, subscribe.
Sorry, we've been kind of like silent and like
I'm trying to figure it out.
what's the
Coherent?
Incoherent a little bit. I've been putting so many theories together in my head throughout this episode that I'm just like, is that right or is that not right?
This is the first trial in this game that's really had me tripped out.
I'm following along with like all the clues and stuff so far, but I really don't have like
a good guess.
The first one and the second one, I had like a general thought process of how it could have happened. This one, not really.
I really do think there's something to my theory about sticking your hand under the floorboard, going across, and then just sliding that sickle up and around. I don't think that's as impossible as it seems to Gage, apparently. But,
so there is one end of the board sticking out from under the cage, right?
Right, and I would assume
So-
at an upward angle because she's putting her weight on it. So like if this is the floorboard, I assume it's sticking up like this.
Why would it be sticking up? For
'Cause
one, the cage's weight is on it. A big, heavy cage.
Yeah, but as like a
And
hold
she's
on,
got-
but as a balancing point. It's not at the beginning or at the end.
See, I need like an accurate diagram of how this board is placed.
Well, just look
you
at
know?
look at the truth bullet. Do the one where we can see where she's laying down. Okay, now I'm gonna point.
No, don't point. Do it. Sit down. Otherwise, they can't even hear you. There's
They
no
can
point.
hear me. But okay, if you look at where her like body is,
Yeah.
if you were to plop the cage down and you assume she's in the middle of it, right?
Okay.
I feel like where the cage is and where her body would weigh it down, and the cage maybe a little farther to the right than you'd think. It would balance the board like upwards. Like all the board would do is just balance while she pushed down on it.
See, I wish we had a full picture right now.
I know, but
of
it
this, because that beam is cut off, right?
Uh-huh.
But I think the other two beams are still good, and that's what her weight is on right now.
No, her weight is on that one.
No, her blood was all the way on the left.
Is that the dried blood?
Yeah, that's the dried blood. You know what I mean?
Well, you could probably still push down on it then.
Yeah, you could push down on it. That I'm not disputing.
Okay.
But even then, if you push down on it, how heavy is this cage?
Or you know what? That would work. If you push down on it,
Like if you were to step on the board,
right,
it would raise her side up.
and the cage would still be in that middle point a little bit. So then once you have that weight on the board and the board is going down, like it's only her like bottom half that's getting lifted up. So it shouldn't be very hard to be able to reach around.
How much does this thing weigh? I don't know. They said this thing was like very heavy. It took 2 people to lift it.
Right.
So I think stepping on it with all your weight could potentially like lift it, but Tenko's weight is also on it. Is one person's
but-
foot weight gonna lift up another whole body weight? You'd have to be heavier than that person and the cage combined. You'd have to have Byakuya.
Why do you have
in
to
the
be
second-
heavier than the cage?
Because
If the cage is in the middle, you're not lifting up the cage. It's just gonna slant against it. Like if this is the cage right here, look at me, and this is the floorboard, you're not pushing up like that, you're pushing like that. So the cage isn't gonna make a difference.
I think the board... See, this is why I need a diagram. It's so impossible to know for sure because does the board on the other end go... Does the cage sit on top of it or no?
What do you mean the board on the other end? Like to the left of her head?
No. So that the... This is so stupid to even talk about. The board she's on right now.
Uh-huh.
The left side obviously sticks past the point where the cage goes.
Yes.
The right side, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it does. Because look at where her head was supposed to be. It should be on that stone, and the cage is only 5 feet wide. So I feel like you would have... And that's 5 feet wide, not 5 feet from the middle. Right. So if the middle point is like where her torso would be, which is pretty much that gap between the stone and where her head is at right now, look how far that board goes out. That's plenty of room that it sticks out.
But you can still see the traces of like the salt circle around it.
Yeah, I mean
What I'm saying is if someone were to step on that board on that one spot, it would lift the other side of the board up, right? What I don't know is if the other end of the board is long enough to lift the whole cage up, or if it would just rise up inside of the cage.
Rise up inside of the cage, I would think.
But we don't know for sure.
I do.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I do. That makes sense to me. Like, I have total, 100% faith that, yeah, you could do that. I might be wrong.
No,
but...
I don't think you could, because you can see the salt circle right there, right?
Uh-huh.
And the cage had to have been inside the salt circle, otherwise we wouldn't have been able to place the cage there. You can see it in the picture where Shuichi and Kokichi are placing it down, and the board goes past the salt circle even.
Right.
Is the reason the seance... This is way too complex to just talk about with words. We're gonna have to go through with the actual trial and explain it from there.
I'm still sticking to my guns that you could just balance the board, stick your arm through the slot in the bottom, stab her, pull it out. If you do disrupt the salt
I need you
circle,
to draw this for me, honestly.
I can if you want.
Well, see, the problem is I wouldn't be able to recognize it if you did.
That's not true, but whatever. Anyways.
I don't even know if any of what we just talked about got left in the video, but...
It should! That was good theories! Though, lacking a visual aid.
Very much lacking a visual aid.
Put some Subway Surfers, they'll be fine.
Thank you guys for watching,
yes.
and we will see you next time.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.